Welcome to the Jboy Show, hosted by Jake Crain, the fastest growing sports show in the nation.
I'm Coach Hugh Freeze.
This is Super Bowl champion Brandon Graham.
Hey, this is DJ Shockley, and you're watching.
And thanks for watching the Jboy Show.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Thanks for joining us again on another edition of the Jboy Show. Got another great one cooked up for you coming your way here in 1 second. But before we do, as usual, let's shout out our partners over at betonline.ag. Head over there today. The online casino is always open. Got some great bets. Golf, hockey, Major League Baseball, whatever you're into. Go check them out. That's betonline.ag. Sign up today. The sign-up bonuses are awesome as well. But really excited, especially as we got a big draft week involved with us here. We all know how big that is to bring on a guy that had success not only at the college level, but at the NFL, still doing it with the San Francisco 49ers. You know, I'm going to say he's a wide receiver, but he can kind of do a little bit of everything. I'm sure he could probably play defense if they wanted him to, and that's Mr. Mohamed Sanu. Mohamed, what's up, man?
What's going on, man? How you doing?
Man, I'm doing great. Appreciate you taking some time. And I know as we're kind of getting into this new year, you got a lot of stuff going, a lot of exciting stuff. And, you know, man, before we get going anywhere, I got to ask you something just because the start of your career was so cool in the NFL. You know, you're drafted, you know, being a receiver, stuff like that. But your first touchdown is a 73-yarder to A.J. Green that you threw. How crazy was it coming in the Wildcat? Number one, how pumped were you to be able to throw that ball? Because, again, you were a guy that, you know, you're obviously athletic enough to do it. Had done stuff like that before. What was it like having your throwing touchdown come before your first receiving touchdown?
Honestly, it was pretty cool. It was like the first time I really played a lot, you know, because the third game of the year, second game of the year. Mm-hmm. And the first game we played against the Ravens, we got whipped pretty good, and it wasn't that. And then, you know, you get an opportunity to make a big play in the beginning of the game. So, I mean, I just was actually, little did you know, like, for some reason, like, my elbow was sore for like the whole week. Like, for some, I don't know what I did. Like, I did something to it, and it was sore as heck the whole week. Before that, I actually threw the ball. But I didn't say nothing just because
you want to throw it. Hell yeah.
And, well, I know me, like, I'm gonna make a play. Like, I have total confidence in myself and doing something, anything like that, because it's what I do. You know what I'm saying? So I wasn't tripping off of it, but I was just like, you know, when game time comes, the adrenaline is gonna kick in. Yeah. I'm going from there.
Yeah. Did you know it was a dime when it left your hands? Did you know it was good? Because you know AJ's gonna catch anything around him. You know that.
As soon as I let it go, I already knew it. Like, seeing how fast Jay was running. And I had let that thing go, and I just started running to the side. As soon as I see you catch that thing, I was just like, oh.
Man, I had to ask you about that, man. That's so cool. And I'm trying to think. I don't know any other player that's ever happened to, really, like off the top of my head that I could think about that came in and that was the way they scored their first touchdown, you know, outside of quarterbacks, obviously. But that's a cool story, man. And you know, coming out of Rutgers and obviously the time of year we're in the sport is big now, and getting that chance, what was it like, Mohamed, when you got drafted? Because, again, you know, all the things you go through preparing yourself and all the advice people are giving you and all the people all the way from being a kid coming up that had helped you. When you got that call that the Bengals were going to take you, man, it had to be just an amazing feeling.
It definitely was an amazing feeling. Like, you were just like, man, you know, this is what you've been waiting for, you know, your whole life. And then you finally hear it, so now what you gonna do? You know what I'm saying? It's one of those moments. It's like, all right, like, you hear it, like, now what? You know, like, you work your tail off your whole life, like, to get to this position. It's like, now what you gonna do with it? And early on, you don't really notice it, but you know, like, all right, it's a big thing. It's a every, you know, moment could be your last moment, but you don't really realize it as a kid. You know, as a young rook, first, second, third year player until you get, you know, a little older, you start cherishing, you know, like, oh, okay, like each moment is wow, like, I'm really still here. I'm still doing this. Like, I know what I'm capable of. Like, I know my abilities, and this is still it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like early on, you're like, all right, like, it's cool to be here. Now it's like, it's a privilege. You know what I'm saying? It's different.
Well, it's amazing what experience brings, you know, in life too. And especially now as your career, because it's so, I always say, and it's like this in a lot of sports, it's obviously really hard to get there, but it seems like it's even harder to not only stay there, but keep getting better, because those guys coming up underneath you are in that hungry position that you were, and they want to play. And you know, I'm going to get to how you've been able to keep your body in the shape that you have, especially this offseason with the Hockey. We're going to talk about that. But, you know, do you find it, and I've had, you know, Jason Campbell on here, who had a bunch of NFL guys, Brandon Graham, and do you find the motivation to be the same every offseason going into the next year, or do you change the messaging to yourself? You see what I'm saying? It's going from, you know, your first year to your second year, your third year. Do you have that same message, or do you keep having to challenge yourself in different ways?
You have to challenge yourself in different ways every day. It's not necessarily year to year. Yeah. Early in your career, you use more year to year, but like, you know, the more and more you're trying to get better and better in little details now, like, because, you know, over time you've gotten better drastically.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, now it's like, okay, now I got to get better, you know, on the little things even more so than the bigger thing, because the bigger things I'm pretty good at.
Yeah.
It's not much room for improvement, but the little things, there's a ton of room for improvement.
Yeah.
You know,
and we all know it. And I was going to say, the little things are what separates you at that level, correct?
Right. Exactly. Like
Yeah.
little things, like you lose sight of it sometimes because you try to do all the big things, but at the same time, when you realize, oh, I'm going to get back to the basics and do all the little things as perfect as I can or as best of my ability, all the big things take care of themselves.
Man, that's a great point. You obviously spot on, a guy that did it. And, you know, you've played for different quarterbacks and ran routes for different guys. Can you talk about, and we talk about it in college all the time. I'm in high school, you develop a rapport with your receivers, but how important is that chemistry? And it's always funny, we say the word chemistry, and to me, it's really timing and feel, because in that league, I mean, obviously everything's going so fast, you don't have time to not have a good, you know, chemistry or relationship with that quarterback. But, you know, how big is that in the biggest moments of the trust between not only you trusting the quarterback to give you a good ball at a spot that gives you a chance, but that you're going to make the play for that quarterback, and that quarterback can trust you to maybe take a bad ball and make the play. Because again, the stats don't say bad pass.
And that's the thing. It's like, it's just understanding each other. It takes time to really get a common understanding with one another. Like, it's easier to work with somebody when you know how that person's wired, you know, the way they think, you know what drives them, you know what makes them, you know, tick. And it's easy to understand somebody when you're with them for a certain amount of time. You know how they see things. You pick their brain. You talk to them, and it's all about communication. Because you can run as much as you want, you can throw as much as you want, but it's like, if I don't sit there and talk to you and tell you like, hey, like I like it thrown a certain way, or do you like me running a certain way? You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, if you want me to be more sticky at the top, as far as like being indication at the top, showing that I want the ball, then I can do that. But if you want me to race to the spot, then I can do that as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're a spot, you know, so it's more so communication with your guy, and knowing like, okay, like in these situations, like, don't be afraid to like throw it at, you know, up or throw it down, you know, so they know like what you're comfortable with, and you know what they're comfortable with.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, it's about communication. It's about understanding each other, because it's the windows. I mean, it's funny. We all go back and watch the replays of, you know, the receivers doing little things in the route that you didn't see as the play was going. Guys calling for the ball mid-route and stuff like that, and just how minute those things are. You talk about sticking it at the top, you know, head faking at the top, the option route. To me, the option route game, some of the chemistry stuff in the league, it's amazing. It's like a different language.
My favorite route.
Oh, there we go, man. And that's a perfect segue. Man, it's like you've done an interview before, Mohamed. So, and I know you've done a couple before, as much success as you had. But what is it to you with the option route? You know, as a defensive guy, I coach defense, and that was always what worried me the most, because anytime you have multiple options, that's why we never want to stack a receiver at TB to give you two-way go. But how much of an advantage is the option route if you can do it well? I mean, you look what Tom Brady's done with it. I mean, it's incredible.
I mean, if you can do it well, it can be the most dangerous route in the playbook, honestly, because not one person can stop it. You know, it takes, you know, at least two people if you necessarily want to stop the option route, at least 2-3 people.
Yeah, and you can't
have one person try to cover an option route, like, you got too many options. You got too many. You got too many ways to set up a play. And like me, is when it comes to running option rounds like game of chess, I just set things up, play things off of each other. Like I know exactly what I'm looking for. And if you give it to me, I'm taking it. But if you give me something else, I'm taking that too. It's like chess. Like I don't necessarily, force a move. I play what I'm dealt.
That's exactly right. And that's the scariest part is that, I can sit here and tell the nickel, hey, you're inside leverage, stay inside leverage. And he can do everything right. But you got the ability to go out and you didn't even got to set him up. That's the thing. And then I'm going to stick here and then get back. You didn't got to set him up. It scares me to death. That and the RPO, if they can run it right, you got any sort of run game, scares the hell out of me. But for offensive guys, it's great. That's why everybody does it. You're starting to see some more RPOs in the NFL. You're looking at, Teddy Two Gloves and guys like that being able to do it. But I find it so interesting. And Mohamed, too, as we continue, I always like to ask this question to receivers because I think receivers get labeled a little too much. Well, this guy's a speed guy. This guy's just a possession guy. And in that league, I mean, I guess you could say some guys are possession guys, but it's not like they're slow out there running around. And again, gravity's a real thing. Physics is a real thing. How would you describe your game, Mohamed, as a receiver? If you could, your style, I know you can do multiple things. I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but how would you describe your style?
I'm a game changer. Like whenever I touch the ball, I change the momentum of the game, no matter what. Whenever I'm in, I change what happens. I just know how to help my team win. Yeah.
And let's talk about that confidence. That you got to be confident to play any position in the NFL. I don't care if it's guard, but especially out there, when it's you and the DB and that ball's in there. We always talk about, oh, he's a dog. He's a dog. He's a dog. That means it's such a cliche now, but there's only certain guys that can do that when the ball's in the air. And, you've been one of them. Just talk about that mindset of when you see the ball in the air, you got a shot because that's all you can ask for is a shot at it.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, when I know the ball is thrown at me, I know it's my ball and nobody else's. I know it's just a mentality. It's a mindset on how you attack things. Like for instance, like a lion doesn't necessarily think about hunting, it just hunts. A tiger doesn't think about hunting, it just hunts. Like I don't think about when the ball's in the air.
You're gonna get me fired up in here, Mohamed. You're gonna be fired up, man. You're gonna be fired up in here. That's the truth though. Because out there, I mean, it's kill or be killed. Like you said, it is truly kill or be killed, man. And I appreciate you sharing that. That's the insight that we try and give to our audience, man, going behind the helmet. Because so much more it goes into the play than what people see, than a guy just making a catch.
It's deeper than just catching the ball.
Yeah, it's poetry.
Anybody can catch the ball, but it's about what you do when you catch the ball.
It's
so about true. How you catch the ball. It's the mentality you bring, the presence,
you said it, game changer. Game changer. That's what it is. Change the momentum of the game.
I just changed the game.
Yeah. And speaking about a game changer, if you're having trouble sleeping, you got achy joints, head to SundayScaries.com right now. Use the Jboy code promo. That's JBOY. You save 25% off of it. They got 100% money back guarantee, but you're not going to need that because it works. I take the gummies before I go to sleep every night. It helps me sleep. I'm not tossing and turning. My mind's not racing because I need sleep. I coached long enough where I didn't get some. I need it now. And SundayScaries.com, that's the place to go. And I trust them over there. Use that Jboy code promo. It's JBOY. Save 25% off your order. But we're here with Mohamed Sanu, one of my favorite guys to watch, guy that has done it the right way, can play wildcat, can play inside, can play outside at receiver, not afraid to block. And I think that's what separates guys in that league too. The ability to being able to block and you got the Tyreek Hills, which, they're running faster than lightning. They ain't really got to block anybody. But, being a complete receiver in that league, Mohamed, and it's something where I think that gets thrown around too much. I think there's guys that hey, he's a vertical threat, this, that, and the other. But a guy that can catch the deep ball, a guy that can catch the slant across the middle, not afraid to take the hit, a guy that's going to block to spring that back for not a 40-yard run, but a 70-yard run and a touchdown. What does it mean to you to be labeled a complete receiver? And is that not the goal of this whole thing?
I mean, that's the goal of the whole thing as a receiver. You want to be complete. You don't want to have anything that you can't do. Yeah. You want to be like, oh, we got to find a guy. No, I can do that. Yeah. Well, we got to find. No, I can do that too. Like me, I grew up in an era where you never came out the game.
Yeah.
So it's like, now it's a little different. It's like, you got your guys, you play, 20 plays here, 60 plays, or 40 plays here, 30 plays. Because you got guys that do specific stuff.
Specialized, yeah.
Yeah. And it's like nowadays, it's rare that you see the guys play 70 plays a game.
Yeah, that's so
play.
true. Well, to me, like the game's so much more packaged now. And offensively and defensively. I mean, there's a reason why when the offense subs, the ref stands over the ball to let the defense sub because it's a game of matchups. And you've been in the game for a minute, and I'm not trying to say you're old or anything because you're not, man. And I know you're excited about what's going on in San Francisco, and I'm going to get to that. But how has the game changed, since you've been even in the league? I mean, they're making changes every year. It's got. How do you adjust? How do you adjust?
It just, you just got to keep rolling with it. I mean, every year it's going to be changes. There's going to be things that is added, but you have to be willing to adjust. Like, you know what I'm saying? You got to be able to adapt, evolve, and mature and grow. Like, you can't stay stagnant. If you stay stagnant, you get left behind, or you're not able to make progress. So you just grow with whatever the new steps is, new way is, whatever the case may be. Like, you have to be able to take whatever you get and grow with it.
It's true. I always say, if you're not evolving, you're dissolving, and you better be doing it. That's in everything. And so you've had a great career, been a couple places. Now you're in San Francisco. Number one, how are you liking the vibe out there with Coach Shanahan and being out there? And I know there's a lot of excitement. And I'm not going to ask you the specifics about the draft or anything. I got a question just about the draft in general here after this. But how excited are you to be with the 49ers, man? Because I know y'all got stuff cooking out there. And especially being on the same side there with George Kittle at tight end, that'll help the old matchup situation too.
Yeah, to definitely help. I'm excited. I know, Kyle Shanahan, Mike McDaniels, they got some stuff like schemed up. I know they're going to have a lot of fun with that offense. And just whatever they have cooked up. I know the energy around the building, guys getting healthy, guys coming back. So I know we were fired up as a whole organization, from DBs to linebackers, defense, everybody. Just watching, just being observant, mind service stuff. So I sit back and I like to watch and see how just the mindset of people, because at the end of the day, it's like, whoever, what's the mindset of everybody else, if they're not thinking the same way as you, it's going to be lacking whatever the goal as a team is, you know what I'm saying? So you just try to take the temperature and the mindset of everybody, make sure everybody got that same goal in mind.
That's true, because you're only as strong as your weakest link, especially at that level. You better have all the bridges down and letting people do their thing. But so much gets made, Mohamed, about these mock drafts, and from a fan perspective, it's I want this guy, or I want that guy, or this guy's not any good, or this guy. As a player on the team, and I'm sure they're probably, when you guys are by yourselves or just talking about, there's probably certain guys, that you want. But, at the end of the day, number one, it's got to be exciting just because of the draft memories that you have and getting in the league and just that feeling like we talked about. But when you kind of look at the draft pick, is it, hey, man, we picked this guy, we all got to get behind this guy right now, and everybody, blow him up, whatever? Or do players have a little input on who gets drafted? Not at all, I don't believe. Go,
you don't have no input. Yeah, you have any input unless you're like
Tom Brady or something,
Exactly, like a marquee guy, that needs to know what's going on.
Tom's like, are we getting a receiver or not? I've been doing push-ups for 3 hours. I need to know.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, regardless, like, you getting a receiver now, you still got to do your work. Or you getting a quarterback now, you still got to do your work. And like the guys that are franchise players necessarily, or who may, have some type of say, but at the end of the day, it all falls on the, the GM and the owners, and you just embrace those guys, honestly, because they're here to help. Like, you got to know, like, okay, like, they're a little wet behind the ears as far as like how things are done. So you got to pick them up to speed and know, like, hey, this is how the NFL works. This is how you do stuff to succeed over 16, 17 weeks. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, like, you got to learn rather quickly, because it's ain't college where, you know what I'm saying, you got 11, 13 weeks. Nah, this is
the grind, man.
The grind is different. It's just a full-time job. Like, it ain't like, oh, you got class and tutoring and study hall. No. Football is your class, your tutoring, your study hall. You got to take care of your whole body. You got to take care of your mind. You got to manage your time. Now you got people asking you for more stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's like
100%.
In college, it's like, ain't nobody asking you for shit.
That's true.
But
no, you're good. You're good.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you ain't got no money, but now you got some money. People gonna start. So you got to manage your mental game. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's funny. I had a Hall of Famer Walter Jones on here, and he told me, man, right when I got drafted and got the money and got in my house, it's like I'm sitting there in my house one day, and all of a sudden all the lights came off. I didn't realize I had to pay my own power bill. I was used to, in college, getting that handled and stuff like that. It's just there's so much more goes in because you're right. There is no classes. You're in that facility all day.
All day.
Like not even 9 to 5. Like more than that. I don't think people realize that.
People realize that.
Yeah, it's like, oh man, this guy's just a really good player. Well, yeah, he's a really good player, but there's 10 other really good players out there. He's just prepared. And I think that's something that the fans don't see enough, and hopefully they get to understand more. And every guy we brought on, is talking about that. But, as we're here, Mohamed, kind of winding this down, I talked about this earlier. You've been in the league, been able to stay in the league. It's really hard to get there. It's even harder to stay there. And physically, you even said it, taking care of your body. And we hear, TB12 stuff with Tom Brady and all this other stuff, but especially this offseason, man. I know you're excited. I want you to tell people about the Hocket, what it is, and how it's helped you this offseason, because, man, I know that they're expecting a lot from you this year, man. And I know your body's got to be right to do that. And it seems like it is.
Yeah, my body's been amazing. The best it's ever been. I got the new hockey machine, and it just helps me with recovery, helps me with my endurance and how I'm feeling, energy. Feeling it's just different. I get great amount of rest, no achiness or soreness, is not much inflammation in joints or whatever the case may be, because it's like, as far as like for receivers, we run and cut and stop and
crazy, yeah,
like on a dime, and you have to do that consistently over and over and over. And for myself, I've been training extremely hard because I got stuff that I want to accomplish for myself, and as anybody does. But I want to be as most prepared as I am to help this team win as much as I can, because I know like my mind and my body, what it knows and what it can do now is it's the best as it's ever been. So if I'm able to apply it and heighten it to peak performance, peak ability, like it's going to be fun.
Yeah, without a doubt. And that's HOCATT, the Hocket machine. I suggest everybody look that up. Again, it's coming from a guy that's doing it. That's literally doing it, as we're saying. And we've all know how the success. When you catch the first touchdown this year, man. Oh, you got it? You going to show it to us? Yeah,
I'll show you.
Let me see it.
I'll show it to you.
I'm interested to see this thing.
So this is it right here. I'll flip this camera. Actually, there you go.
Oh, wow, man. It looks like you could eject from a spaceship in that thing, man.
Pretty much. So right here is the so it has oxygen.
Okay.
That therapy that it does. You turn on the machine. It has steam, infrared lighting.
Wow.
So here's a control screen. So it has, you're sitting there for 30 minutes. You got steam. Steam's coming through out of there. It has oxygen that you put through I think it's the catheter, whatever thing that you put on your nose.
Man, you about to have the best year ever, man.
Yeah, bro. It's pretty.
So you get in it.
Yeah, you get in it. So you get in it full, like your full body gets in it. And the steam comes from the bottom of there. You got the oxygen coming through here.
How many times you fell asleep in that thing, Mohamed? Don't lie to me. How many times you fell asleep?
Man, at least like for like 5 minutes every day.
Wow.
Like whenever I'm in it, like I always catch a snooze in it.
And that's a good look. That's more than we expected to. I wanted to see it. I was going to ask you, to explain it more, but that's pretty self-explanatory. I'm telling you, everybody go check that out. Especially if you got somebody that's training. And Mohamed, giving us the 2 or 2 hours. I got to get you back on, bro. This has been fun, Mohamed. This really has, man. And when you score that first touchdown, I'm gonna think of that machine. That's the first thing I'm gonna think about.
You better think about it. You're gonna be like, oh, okay, that's the machine.
I may have to get one for the studio up here. I could do it. I could do the show from one of those things, man. We could hook the mic up, Cone. What you think? Yeah, no doubt. Sick. Yeah, that would be. Sick. But
you'd be sweating though.
Hey, listen. I'm not afraid of it.
It doesn't just help with recovery. Like it helps with like weight loss and detoxification and all that stuff. It's crazy.
So it's like all encompassing,
bro. When y'all look this thing up, it does so many different stuff. Like it's amazing.
Yeah,
I love that thing.
Well, shoot, I can tell. I appreciate you sharing that, Mohamed. Man, this has been great, dude. I really appreciate you coming on. We got to do this again. So we're out of Atlanta. Here in Buckhead. So, a ton of the Falcons fans going to be excited to see this too, man. And I know you're over there in San Francisco doing your thing. I don't want to piss anybody off. or anything. I'm just saying. But man, I really appreciate you. Tell everybody where they can follow you on social media, man. Let's do this again.
I got you, Jay. My IG is my name, Mohamed Sanu, really simple. And then my Twitter is mode_12_Sanu. Probably got to get that changed just to Mohamed Sanu again. You know, I just keep it simple. Just so my fans can find me. And
that's exactly right. Well, it's about accessibility, man. Well, like I say, the investability is availability, man. We all know that. But I really got a lot of respect for you, brother. I appreciate you coming on, and let's talk again soon.
For sure, man. I appreciate you, Jay. It's a great show, man. Definitely hop on another time.
Definitely. I'm going to be rooting for you, man, every time. Hey, man, I'm going to see you throw another one, too. Tell him to let you throw another touchdown pass. I can bring you back on here.
I got you.
Shanahan will cook it up. He ain't afraid to do it. But I want to thank everybody else for joining us. Head over, subscribe to the Jboy Show on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Get some of that gear from the jboyshow.com. Mohamed, I got to send you one of these hoodies or something. What you want? Gray one or a black?
Let me get a black one. I've been on my ninja stuff lately. Let me get a black one.
Hey, I like that. I like that, man. Moving, the real G's moving in silence like lasagna. You already know that. I appreciate all y'all joining us. Catch us again. Draft coming up. Got another big week. It's been another edition of the Jboy Show. And Jboy's gone.
The Jboy Show is produced by David Cohn, Technical Director Dave Hammock, Creative Director David Culbertson, Audio Engineer Feyzan Shareef, Production Assistants Blaine Crain and Kyle Orr, Executive Producers Jake Crain, Vince Thompson, Steve Chamberlain, and David Cohn. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and visit our website, thejboyshow.com, for updates regarding our newest apparel and merch designs. Win the water cooler with the Jboy Show.